Hello, everyone. Welcome to the recording of It's Me, Not You. I am joined by my fabulous co-host. Hello, Melissa.
Hello.
Hello, Jake, who looks like he's trying to hear us.
I know it sounded like you were talking from like down a corridor. It
I'm
kind of
like,
sounded,
hello.
I mean, it's really gorgeous, but also spooky. Hi, everybody.
Hi. So first,
Yeah.
before we get into our topic, Jake is applying some type of oil. And Jake, what are you putting on?
Hi, everybody. Yeah. So shout out to all my witches out there that are listening, that have heard of flying ointment. So back in the day, they used to be made with poisonous herbs. And it's actually a really beautiful form of herbalism, poisonous herbalism, because a lot of times things like belladonna, mandrake, mandragora, all of that stuff can be used medicinally,
Mm-hmm.
especially when they're applied topically. So what flying oils are, or flying ointments, is they are sometimes used with poisonous herbs that are, for the most public, are generally safe, but as always, consult your herbalist and your local provider. And they can enhance psychic sensitivity. They can help
Ooh,
you with astral projection,
ooh.
shamanic journeying, just kind of channeling and kind of slipping past like the physical and ego barriers that sometimes
Nice.
the conscious mind can place on you. So they're quite funky to do at night, but also really fun to do during session.
That's awesome. So
That's
that's
where the
Yeah.
witches and the brooms and the flying all came from.
from
Yes.
the flying ointment.
Hmm.
And the flying monkeys.
Yes.
I love that. That is such a cool thing. Now, did you make that
Yeah.
yourself?
No, I got it from a nice shop. I believe it's Etsy or it's a website,
Okay.
but it's Belladonna's Botanicals. She's lovely.
Ooh, ooh.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing. So
Oh.
I'm like, that's really cool. I'm making a note,
Mhm.
guys. I'm making a note.
Yeah, it's
Um,
fun.
it sounds cool. So for today's topic, we kind of wanted to touch very briefly on astrology and maybe some other tools that you can utilize using your birth date, your the place where you're born, all of that fun stuff. And this is very near and dear to our girl Melissa's heart. So Melissa, it's going to be a all you episode. So
No, it's all three
just
of us.
kidding. It's all of us. So
I
I
do.
guess go ahead, Melissa.
I love astrology. The reason why I love it is because it's one of the few modalities where I use both sides of my brain equally.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm doing readings, I'm all right side, and work, I'm all left. But with
Mm-hmm.
astrology, there's so much thinking, which is the left brain, and spirit messages
Uh-huh.
at the same time. So I just, yeah, I could go on about astrology forever. But I use it in everyday applications. I use it for when I plan meetings, when I want to deal with people, even like what day I might do a party on, if I have to do errands,
Mm-hmm.
just because the energies of the planets are here to help us accomplish different tasks or give energy to those tasks, depending
Mm-hmm.
on what group or whatever you're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And then, there's Eastern, there's Vedic, there's the Western. I do the more of the Western, and I only know very little. To me, the planets are like characters in a play, and I'm still getting to know each one of the character stories well, and
Mm-hmm.
then to figure out how they all work together over my own birth chart.
Oh, that's cool.
I wish I had learned this so long ago because everybody wants their book of life. Like, if I only had the roadmap to my life, well, you do, it's astrology.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
It would have been
Hmm.
a lot easier to deal with.
I'm like having a moment here. So the one thing I do want to say, just give me a second here. I
Tell us.
I will say though, Melissa, I appreciate your respect of astrology now so much more that you've explained it. That for you, it's blending your left and your right brain together. Because you are a scientist and you are a reader, so for you, it's pulling all of that
I'm
together.
whole. I'm
So
one.
yeah, and it
Yeah.
now the obsession with you in astrology now makes more sense.
Yeah, there's no part of me that I have to hide with doing this, which is
Hmm.
just, and I'm getting better with my readings. It's like, ooh, I bet your Pluto's here. And then I look it up and it's like, aha, and they have no idea what I'm talking about, but it's like, but I got it. So this is cool.
I love that. So what are some other, like, let's say somebody I mean, I don't know about you, Jake. I'm going to flip it to Jake here. Jake, do you use astrology in like your daily practices, or is it something you kind of dip in and out of?
Yeah, it's definitely something that I dip in and out of. However, I do really enjoy the beauty behind the science that's in astrology.
Hmm.
It really is a language of sorts, and I kind of view it similarly to like my tarot practice.
Hmm.
There's a lot of overlap with finding tarot within astrology, or excuse me, astrology within tarot. So different signs will rule different cards, like the major arcana have different signs that rule over them. And it's really like this window of perspective that tells you what exactly this card might be alluding to in somebody's life, but also keeping in mind the astrological sign. So the moon being in Pisces, I mean, it's telling you the 1-in-1 ratio of, Pisces energy swimming in the water of the ocean,
Hmm.
affected by intuition, can be taken away by the tides of emotion, and making sure to be wary of being kind of swept out into deep water by your own mind, um, tell several stories about the subconscious psyche and all of that good stuff. So it really does rule several things, and it does kind of give you just an interesting lead,
Hmm.
especially if people do card work or if people are doing energetic healings or psychic readings. It kind of gives you a flavor profile
Yeah.
of what different kinds of, heroes and villains are in a story and what their roles are. And it can kind of give you, and again, it does go back to the scientific aspect, it can give you a calculated expectation about how maybe somebody might be dealing with a situation coming up or how they might choose to react to something kind of coming up out of the blue for them in the next following months. So it's always quite interesting, but I do find that it all weaves in really well together. Like following a breadcrumb trail. I always think it's very exciting.
Yeah, and I know that, I mean, Melissa, whenever like the three of us meet, she'll be like, "Oh, what's your birthday? Okay, this is what's going on. Oh, Jake, this is what's going on with you. Okay, Rachel,
Yeah.
you're good." I know.
Mhm.
But it's always like it's fascinating. Like I know that Melissa and I had a sidebar conversation once about my sister, and she was like, "Oh, this, and this." I'm like, "Oh, what?" Like it was,
Hmm.
and it's not even like doing a reading. It's just tapping into her, her chart, which is so. Melissa, how did you get into maybe reading charts?
I took a class on it, and it was during the class I was getting these questions that were, I'm sure, annoying other people, but it was like I remembered I was asking questions from my seeds of memory that I'm like, oh, wait, but there's two ways of doing, charts. And I mean, it can be
Mm-hmm.
complicated with all the different, even houses, uneven houses, and nodes and everything. But it was just, like I said, it combines me as one, and it
Mm-hmm.
gave me these memories that I used to really know this stuff. And then when I saw how, because I love personality work,
Mm-hmm.
I you know, like knowing what I'm getting into, and I deal with a lot of people and a lot of emotions. And for me, the planets are moving one way across the sky, and then we have the constellations moving in another way. So at any given moment, if you take a snapshot, that's all the energy that's being played out at that time. Whether you want to look at the gravitational effects or the electromagnetic effects, like it's there. Do you
Mm-hmm.
know that Nancy Reagan would not let Ron Reagan make decisions unless he consulted an astrologer?
No way.
Yeah. I mean, most of the kings, monarchs of Europe, they had their seer who happened, to mostly be with astrology.
Mm-hmm.
So astrology tells us, stories, and it's like when a when a so there's 12 houses, and when a planet is transiting a house or it's going over a house, it brings energy that lights that up. It's like your teacher's in the room. Now you can choose to listen to the teacher or to ignore them, but if you want to learn and get more out of life, maybe stop repeating some patterns. What teacher's in the room? Whenever I do a new moon or full moon, I look and see what sign is the moon in.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say the moon's in Aquarius. That's my sun sign. Well, for me, my Aquarius is the fifth house. So if I want to work on emotions or manifesting with all that energy being in the fifth house that's right there and it's lit up, why wouldn't I look at what can I do for creativity for myself? What limiting or bringing in, depending on how you work with the moon, it's there. The teachers in the classroom, take advantage of it, learn from
Yeah.
it, go into it. That when Saturn's over a certain spot, Saturn makes you focus. Saturn rules Saturday, which is why most people do their errands and their housework on Saturdays. So, but again, it moves around your chart and everyone has a little bit different based on the time they're born. I can totally nerd out on this for like hours.
You really can't. Jake is
I
like
live.
jamming out over there. Like, I don't know what he's dancing to, but he's just like, sing it, sister. Go.
Just the vibes.
Just go.
I'm really living for the passion.
He's like, go. I love it.
Yes.
Or like when I
go.
found out that my son being in the 5th house, it's Aquarius, but every house is ruled by what they call the Lord. The 5th house is ruled by Leo. So if it's a blank slate, Leo rules the 5th house. So some part of my son, which is the here I am, this is me, is going to look like Leo. And I have this crazy red hair mane like the lion. So it's just fun for me when it's like, oh my God, but it's right there. It makes sense.
So if
Yes.
somebody is new to kind of jumping into astrology, you would probably recommend looking up their birth date, seeing what their sun sign is.
Yep.
You also have them look up their moon sign and their,
Ascendant.
Ascendant sign.
And then to see if they have a stellium. That's another thing.
I'm sorry,
Do you have, yeah. So if you have 3 or more planets in one sign, it's called a stellium. So my sun is Aquarius. Aquarius, whenever I read the horoscopes, they don't fit me. Aquariuses are supposed to be aloof. I am about humanity, but I'm not supposed to like people and I'm supposed to be really withdrawn. That's not my style. But I have 4 planets in Virgo, which is of service, wanting to be with other people, wanting to help. So if you have 3 or more signs in one of the other constellations, you're more like that than you are your sun sign.
Gotcha.
And your ascendant is what you give off to other people.
So we're gonna say Jake.
Oh, sorry, I pulled
He's
a muscle
flying.
on my back, so I double back. I am flying a little bit. Yeah, I feel like for easy stuff, I can only just like recommend how I kind of jumped and dipped my toes into astrology. It was finding out the big 3, because I know that a lot of people will really just kind of hold on to that sun sign and just ride or die with it. But definitely look up your ascendant and your moon sign. I think that those 3 alone can be really quite informative. Number one of personality traits, of course, but also how you deal with emotional situations, how you internalize them, how you externalize them. Your ascendant, of course, for me, my ascendant's in Libra, so I always find myself kind of coming back to that perspective when I do withdraw into that Pisces watery energy. It's that Libra that kind of pulls me back up and be like, you know what, F this. It's that resilience that kind of comes into play. I really loved getting like the personal kind of journal, not personal journals, the personal planners, but the ones that have astrology in it. So Rachel, you just got me one for my birthday, and it's like the witches planner or something like that. Yeah. And so it's really cute because it has the different days of the week and different signs to tell you like what's the energy of that day. And then it also has, okay, new moons or this astrological event's popping up. And then it has a blurb in the book about what that might be or how that might impact everybody, how you could be perceiving that day. And I even just think like having that in your periphery, kind of just like you would your regular calendar, you can take a look at it and you can see what you mesh with and say, oh, okay, so today, the new moon was in Leo. How did I feel that? Oh yeah, I could really kind of resonate with how that was. And just, a PSA to everybody, not every major event in the stars is going to really blip your radar at all.
Right.
Like I'm a double water sign, Cancer moon and a Pisces sun, but full moons really don't do that kind of crazy chaotic thing for me. I actually sleep a lot on full moons, which is very funny. So we all are impacted differently, but I definitely encourage everybody find out your big 3 signs. You can even take a look at what your birth card is in the tarot, because that will usually be astrologically informed as well. And then get a planner. Those are honestly the biggest ones. And if you are somebody who really wants to learn more, if you utilize, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, look up some astrological accounts, people who read professionally and maybe will post about them. I always love Alex Bradley's post that he does about, the big events in the stars. Really just kind of lays it out there. I think that stuff is so awesome that it's just right there at our fingertips. So just kind of incorporate it into what you doom scroll on social media, through.
And maybe just like look up and, get a birth chart. and then just go through it. And then
Yeah.
you'll be able to see like, where your signs are, where your planets are and what houses and all that fun stuff. And I probably have a couple different birth charts that I look at every now and again if Melissa asks me. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a Leo sun, I'm an Aries moon, and I'm a Gemini ascendant. But
The other ones I like to look at is where's your north node?
oh
Because
yeah,
your north
Oh,
node
yep.
is this is what I signed up to learn in this life.
yes,
So
I do like
everyone
that
wants to know
too.
what's my purpose. Your purpose is your north node.
Well, let's look ours up. What's our north nodes? Come on, guys.
Let's see. I'm guessing yours is going to be in one of the.
I'm so stressed. Jake, do you know what yours is?
Yeah.
Of course you do. Tell me.
Hold on.
Ooh, Rachel, yours is a 1.
That
Yours
means,
is
yeah, girl, be a
well,
leader. I'm just kidding.
well, you came in with Libra to really master being okay with yourself,
Amen.
with you, alone with you, loving you, and yeah.
That's okay.
All right. What do we want to know? North node?
Yes. What is yours?
The sign?
The sign looks like kind of like a pair of headphones.
Oh, yeah. So mine's in Virgo. Is that what we were looking for?
Yeah, what house?
The 11th.
Ooh, so yours is about communities.
Wow, didn't you just talk about this with him yesterday?
I don't know. I talked about his Pluto because I've been really down the Pluto rabbit hole.
Oh,
Mine's
yeah, that one
12th
was really
house.
good.
So what is yours? So in the 11th house, what does that mean for Jake? Being out in the community. So is that how he works with community, how he presents himself in community?
Well, it's kind of all of it.
Being a
but
contributing member of a community.
It's group social awareness, hopes, wishes, future. So, Jake would be one who's so 11th. Do you have your south node? What's the upside down one? Is that 5th house? Your
Let's
upside
see.
down you.
So South Node is Pisces in the 5th house.
Okay. So the south node is what you mastered in your past life. So you mastered the 5th house. You mastered your creativity for yourself. And so now this life, it's how can I bring that creativity to others?
Oh,
Having
cool.
to be in groups, not just be like, oh, I'm creative for myself. I'm going to do all this. You're the connector. You're supposed to be bringing people together with that creative passion that you really learned in the last life.
Come on, Jake.
So yeah, it's very group centered and having to be out there.
That's interesting.
Ooh.
Because is that like also a challenge? Are we losing
Probably.
Melissa again? Look at her face. Because
Melissa,
Jake,
take my hand.
Yeah, every time. So like Jake, for me, like I don't mind being alone, but also being comfortable with myself is definitely something I've had to work on. But
Yeah.
I think for you being, and I'm sorry if I'm talking about you and you're like, you're off base, Rachel, like being a solitary witch, like you're comfortable with yourself, but I'm not very sure if you like being in a lot of groups.
I don't. I always say I am.
She's back.
Yeah, that's so
welcome
weird.
back.
But Jake, go ahead.
Always say. So RuPaul has a really funny saying that he is an introvert disguised as an extrovert.
Yes.
And I just feel like that is totally kind of how I identify. It's that
yes.
Pisces Cancer, but but I understand because that Libra ascendant, it's the work that I do is group work, group readings, private sessions with people, and then having a community behind that, which I do love, and that is something that I'm very passionate about doing. But at the same time, girl, I'm a hermit, and at the end of the day, I'm disheveled, and I need to recharge that social battery so I can live another day and love another day.
Melissa, we were talking about, because you were stuck in poltergeist land again, about how our North Node may be a challenge. Like you said, it's something to learn from. So it's interesting.
Well, it's your mission. If you don't do it, you're repeating.
I'm not fucking repeating my mission.
I don't know. I am. My Pluto's in retrograde in Libra. Yeah, Libra, I think. Let me look. But I am repeating the time of ancient Rome.
Wow.
I didn't get it
Ooh.
together then, so I have to repeat it.
So
Yeah.
let's talk about, okay, so the North Node is your mission. What you really should kind of look into for like, this is my mission, and I really need to hone in on this to own it and to learn it. Now, another thing, Melissa, you like to talk about is your Chiron. So talk about your Chiron real quick because we don't want to take up too much time because it's only
Your
a
Chiron?
basic astrology thing.
You're asking a scientist to go basic. This is a challenge.
Listen, basic, not
So,
bitch.
yeah, I even have my crystal this time, and apparently it's still like blowing up the internet. So your Chiron is the wound that you came in with.
Mm.
That is, you will either live by that wound, and that will be your victim, or you will learn to rise above it and use those wounds to be your teacher. If you are successful at using those wounds to be your teacher, you're going to have a lot easier time getting to that North Node.
Now, Melissa, you have a great book that talks about
I
your
love this
Chiron.
book.
Can you tell us about it?
It's the Chiron effect. So you can look up your birth date. Who has Chiron and Virgo? Either one of you?
I don't know.
I'm trying to
It's
see.
the symbol that looks like a key. It almost says okay.
Oh, it looks like a key.
I'm in
Okay.
Taurus.
Yeah.
Is there
I
a
love
different
this book.
name?
Jake.
He's not Aries. Maybe you're Aries. I'm trying to remote view.
I'm looking. I don't see Kiara.
It looks like a okay or a key.
It looks like this.
Yes.
Why are they hiding that from me?
Because you must be the one that she's talking about.
It has to be.
Probably.
Let's see. So it's about 10 years, 12 years. So one of my hypotheses is that when we look at, if I looked at the millennial brackets or the Gen Z or Gen X, I would almost be willing to bet it's going to be a Chiron based time frame.
God, am I just stupid?
Don't say that.
I don't know if it's on yours.
Listen,
Maybe it's not.
I actually pulled up my birth chart. That's why I
You can screenshot and send yours to me too, Jake.
Yeah. She'll tell
Or
you.
Yeah,
everything.
if you tell me what
it
month and year
literally-
you were born, I can just tell you.
March of 98.
Oh, you're such a baby.
While she's looking that up, I'm gonna say another really good book for anyone who just wants to kind of dive into astrology, and maybe it's a really easy way to read your chart and to kind of dig in, is the only astrology book you'll ever need. Like, that's legit the title of it. And it's a really, and Melissa's got it, and it's a really good book. And I did take a class with Tom Kearns, and you know how to read your astrology, your chart, and everything like that. And I always go back to this book. If I ever am like kind of feeling like, why am I acting like an asshole? I'll look at my astrology chart. I'll maybe go into human design. I'll just say I'm just an asshole. You know what I mean? You know how like you get in funks, you get in these like these rhythms of a funk, like what's going on? Like, and maybe that's when I'll kind of start. I'll look at my chart, or I'll look at, you know, maybe I'll look at human design, I'll look at gene keys, just kind of something. Maybe I have an internal struggle that I need to work through. But I think I'm gonna try to be, and maybe incorporate some of Melissa's ideas of maybe some days of the week and utilizing that planet. And I think that's really cool. And like, you know, seeing how it can propel your life. Same thing with Jake. You were talking about that earlier, kind of giving you an aha, like, oh, well, if I maybe look at this, I can do something with that. That's kind of cool.
So
Yeah,
Jake,
absolutely.
your Chiron is Scorpio. So
Ooh.
you are really into like deep topics like philosophy, religion, death, love kind of things. But when you feel wounded, like if somebody hurts your feelings or betrays your trust, you feel a little paranoid, insensitive, unable to manage anger, and you're not able to be emotionally intuitive if you feel vulnerable and betrayed. And for you, those are like your Achilles heel.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you know what?
And-
That's really why I do so much work with Kali. Because you know what? Every once in a while you get a little bit, just a little bit cheeky, love. just a wee bit cheeky.
Mm-hmm.
So what I've learned from this call, from this podcast episode is one, never cross Jake. And two, if I ever want to dig into my chart, I never want to cross Melissa either. I'm going to reach out to Melissa.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, sometimes it is fun if you know people's charts that maybe you're not the happiest with, and you're like, "Whoo, they're gonna have a bad day tomorrow."
you're like, God bless you, sister.
Like, oh, I know what your Pluto is doing, and hello karma. But I came in to learn
listen,
karma,
yeah.
so.
And if it's something that you're really interested in, I mean, I know several people who read astrology professionally, but they'll look up, potential employers or potential people that they're going to hire for their company, looking up the star chart, looking at seeing what the dynamic might be, what the lessons might be. It's even kind of just like a psychological perspective of,
Yeah.
how in what aspects is this person more agreeable, what
Mhm.
areas or what topics are they more, standoffish over, and how to kind of wiggle yourself through that labyrinth. I think it's a really interesting framework that can really be useful. No matter how far deep you want to dive into it, I think
Yeah.
that even on the surface level, it can be useful. But at the same time, just staying at the surface level can get you, when people are like, oh, well, I'm a Leo, but I don't feel like a Leo. Yeah, girl, well, what are your other signs? Where are your
Yeah, right.
houses? Where's everything else?
That's true.
That's
true. That's true.
Yeah, and I would say, like, at the very basic level, see how we, even before you start reading stuff. So Monday is ruled by the moon, which has to do with your feelings and your emotions. Tuesday is ruled by Mars, god of war. Wednesday is ruled by Mercury, which is communication. Thursday by Jupiter, which is luck and expansion. Friday, Venus, love, how you love. Saturday, Saturn, kind of planning lists. And Sunday is the sun, which is about the self. So it would be interesting for people to just kind of write down, how do I feel on these days? Does that match my energy? If I have a meeting on a Tuesday, do I feel more like fighting? Or, if there is a meeting on Wednesday, do I talk too much?
I think those are all amazing ideas, and I'm just being a smart ass, Melissa. I think that's perfect. I'm actually going to start tapping into the days of the week and seeing how I can kind of move forward with what I do for business, personal.
And it's a lot of magic too. I mean, it's the same stuff if you're doing, magical work, the timing and what intentions you're putting out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, keeping in mind like the signs as well. So I do a lot of witchy stuff on my off time. So a lot of the moon water that I select, sometimes it'll be, during winter time, but I'll wait for, a certain specific sign of a property I'm trying to bring in or that I want to work with. Or even just certain ceremony, prayer work, or spell work that I'm looking to kind of launch out there. I do like to take into account, where the stars are, what the planets are kind of doing out there, and just to kind of see, okay, what's going against me? Where do I need a couple extra nudges, couple extra sprinkles of chili flakes, to kind of make up the difference. It really is kind of like chemistry, to be quite honest. Yeah.
Have you seen this book, Jake? I think you would like it.
I have seen it. Do you like it?
I do.
Okay, I'm sold.
All right, so it's tarot and astrology. So we're going to wrap this up, everyone. So if anyone wants to give us a comment about what day of the week they like to work with the most and maybe what your sign is, and, do you relate with the sign that you are? I mean, I feel like I'm like, oh, I'm a Leo, but I don't necessarily feel like I'm a Leo. So that's interesting. So parts of me are not.
And I do think you can rise above your chart. You can rise above
your chart.
You can get out of the karma stuff. Exactly. It's like, what was that movie? The Night with Heath Ledger.
Oh my God.
Knight's Tale.
I love that movie. It's such a good movie. Have you ever
I
seen it?
don't know why I would have gotten that you love
The
it.
Knight's Tale. I love that movie.
Psychic.
And they dance and like da, 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 la, la, la. Such a good movie. Such a good soundtrack.
I just love how enthusiastic you are about it.
Have you seen it? It's probably not. It's
probably
not.
It's
good.
Too old for him.
Heath Ledger. And this whole thing was about rising above the stars.
It's exactly right. It's about the stars. He rewrites his stars.
Yeah, and you can rewrite your astrology chart. You master your Chiron, you master your North Node, and
you're good to go, sister.
you've rewritten it. Do what you want.
All right.
See,
well,
now for you have to figure out how your Akashic records play into all of this.
you just leave me alone. I'm just kidding.
Never.
I'm like now I have to like be like, what is she? I'm gonna be like, Melissa, what are you talking about? All right. Well, on that note, Jake, have a good night. Melissa, have a good night. And everyone else, have a wonderful day and goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.